Good morning. Today is Wednesday, sometime in May. I don't know. It's the beginning of May. It doesn't matter. So when I record these videos, I just need you to know that it's for entertainment and education purposes only. I am a clinical therapist, but I'm not your clinical therapist, so I have to say that in advance. So this morning, I this is a hot topic for me because I'm not only a clinical therapist, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And what that means is that I am able to help people meditate into a subconscious place where all the edges of them reside. So when someone comes into me and they have trauma or they want to do like past life regression or anything else, you can come down. I'm not in a session. My kid coming down. Okay. So, past life regression, that's more for funsies, but it is effective. I'll talk about that in a second. But for the most part, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, which means that I can't make you bark like a dog. I can't make you do things that you don't want to do. The entire time we're in session, I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, you're completely aware of what's happening. And bye. Oh, sorry. So you're completely aware of what's happening. So I'm allowing you to bring up whatever pictures and you see. I'm just guiding you. That's my job. So you're aware of what's going on, but you're also in a meditative state. Bye, baby. I love you. Um, so that said, there are people in the world that are trained to be hypno hyp, hypnotists. Okay, that's the correct word. Some of those people use it in comedy. So I've been to a comedy show where they bring up 20 people and then everybody, according to the hypnotist, they start doing their breathe, count to five, da, 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 da. And by the time they're done, they have 20 down to five because those are the people most susceptible to going in a really deep hypnotic state. And hypnotists that do that for comedic purposes, that's their job. And it is hilarious. And those people really are hypnotized. And it's amazing. And there is that group of people that can go so deep in that they can be manipulated, I guess the best way to put it. That is not what I do. I cannot ethically take someone so far into their subconscious that I'm manipulating them or I'm asking them to do something. That's not the purpose of clinical hypnotherapy. Clinical, operative word here. So, then there are people trained in hypnosis that are not clinical. I'm different because I've gone to college for 52 years and I have all the degrees and all the certificates. So against my licensure, would I be trying to control someone in hypnosis? That's not how it works. Okay, on the other side of that, there are hypnotists that are trained to do wellness, holistic health, feel good, relaxation, meditation type work. And there is a place for that. Except when those people who are not college educated, who are not ready to help someone land, if we open up the subconscious Pandora's box and expose trauma, those hypnotists are not trained to manage suicidal ideation or homicidal ideation or severe traumatic secondary trauma from remembering things that can should only land in a clinician's hands. Okay. So for the love of God, and I've said this so many times, if you're trained in hypnosis, that's great. Love that you're here. Love that you're doing the work. But please, please, when you are finding that someone needs a clinician, a clinical therapist, because you've uncovered trauma, that is out of scope. And I am begging you, please, to send those people on, refer them out. We're all over the place. Clinicians are all over the place. Clinical hypnotherapists, there are not that many in the Columbus area, but we're here. And people will travel to do this work. So anyway, so here's an example. I read this morning. This group is called Hypnotherapy. I wonder how many are actual therapists. But anyway, here's an example. Not sure I've done the right thing. I had a client last week who has a fear of being sick. Her father paid for her session. To me, that's the first issue. She's old enough to pay. Okay, let's stop right there. Fear of anything is immediate. You need to refer out. That's it. You have a fear of something. That to me, as a clinician, means there's a root cause. Like, you should not be treating anyone with a fear of something because what if it's a fear, this particular person has a fear of being sick? So, hypothetically, maybe this person has a fear of being sick because as a child, they watched their parent with bulimia. That is not an okay thing for a hypnotist not trained in clinical therapy to be managing. So fear of something, refer to a clinician first. Let us do our work, and then if they want to come back to you, great. We'll refer them back, no problem. But at least let us do the heavy lifting. Her father paid for her session. Who cares? Even if she can afford it. Look, the very first time I went to college, I had a boyfriend grab me by the hand and say, "You're going to college. You're too smart not to do this." And then I never stopped. So who cares who pays for it? Just who cares? That's a non-issue. Okay. She hasn't had any shifts. Well, that would be because you're trying to do clinical work, but you're calling it hypnosis. So you're not going to get any shifts. She needs to be with a clinician who knows how to manage and field the questions, the conversations, guide the person into getting down to the root cause, which is what we do. I've offered her a free session as it played on my imposter syndrome. This has got red flags all over the place. If you have imposter syndrome, maybe you need to find a clinician and go do your own work, right? Like, what are you doing? Anyone else ever felt the same? I think yes, as practitioners, at some point in our careers, we've had imposter syndrome. And multiple times in our careers, we've thought to ourselves, man, I wish I would have said that differently or done that differently. But then there's also times where there's nothing we could have done different. The client just wasn't ready to do the work. And then how would you treat this session in terms of what you would use? The answer is use your resources. And that's exactly what I said to her. Like, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. Use what you need to use is your referral and resource system and make sure that this person gets in the right hands where someone can help her. Okay. So that's my huge soapbox on hypnosis. And I don't mean to diss anybody that's in the field, holistic health, functional health, um, clinicians clinicians especially, there is a place in the world where there is a line that must be drawn. Go see a hypnotist. It's really cool. It's super fun, especially when you discover parts of yourself that make things make sense and the math starts mathing. Like, oh, I didn't realize that I had an issue with dot, dot, dot. I'm glad to know that information. Oh, I didn't know that my ancestral or historical family information on addiction has affected me in this way. I'm going to take that information and I'm going to maybe go seek help now that I understand this thing happened. So, those are just some examples of when to refer out or when the client should be going and talking to somebody else. Um, but, I've done past life regression um, where people discover lifetimes, and it's really powerful So I'm going to use an example from 100 years ago. Well, when I was being trained in hypnosis, we watched a video of a woman, the body keeps the score, of a woman that had anorexia, and they were trying to figure out like what is the root of your relationship with food. And she went back to when she was very, very young. It's weird when you do clinical hypnosis, like there's specific ages like 5, 8, 12, 15, and so forth. It's like those ages always show up. But anyway, um, so she was at the dinner table with her sister and her dad. Her parents were divorced. Mom had disappeared. And all of this came out in hypnosis, in clinical hypnosis. And she remembered in hypnosis being at the dinner table and saying, I'm going to get seconds. And her dad put his fork right here in her hand. And would you believe that the prongs of the fork showed up in her hand? And it was right then that the people, the therapists in the room were like, oh, this stems from trauma. She made a relationship. She had made a decision about food when she was sitting at the dinner table with her dad and her sister, and dad had done this. But interestingly enough, it was like 40 years later that the prong of the fork showed up in her hand because the body remembers. It goes to the point of trauma. Um, and then I don't know what happened to that woman. It was a video that we had watched, but I have to believe she made a different decision about food that day. Because they found the root cause. Okay. The other thing, I've got to get into a session soon, so I'm gonna scoot this along. But I had here's an example of some stories when I've done past life regression, which is not um clinical necessarily, but it could be. I always try to find the clinical angle when people go into past lives. Some people do it intentionally, some people accidentally. That's just where they go. And by the way, the reason I became a clinical hypnotherapist is because of a book by Dr. Brian Wise, who I had the honor of seeing in Toronto many, many moons ago. Um, And his book is called Many Lives, Many Masters. Love the book, love his work. So if you YouTube or Google him, Many Lives, Many Masters, that was like the beginning of my clinical hypnotherapy career. Okay, so I had a guy do past life, and he had gone to 4 lives in that session. Let me see if I can recall. This was so long ago. In one lifetime, he was a big giant mogul of an airplane franchise, and um, he was very, very wealthy, very, very successful, and he had a family, but he wasn't very connected to his family. The second lifetime, he was uh, a guy that he was a freed slave that went up and down this river. And he was the guy that you could get everything from. If you need spoons, if you need cigarettes, if you need rice, if you need beans, if you need a hat, whatever, he was like the trading person. Everybody knew his name, but he had no family. And in hypnotherapy, this guy, he realized it was a really lonely life, and he realized how important family was to him. And the third lifetime, I can't remember what the fourth one was. There was a fourth. But anyway, there was then another lifetime where he lived in what I visualize as something like a little house on the prairie. And he had his homestead, and he had his horses and his cattle and his sheep and his chickens. And he just had this homestead. And it was Old West, is the way I saw it. And he had a family, a wife. He was very, very happy in his life. But he didn't have money. They just lived off the land, and it was glorious, and he loved it. So we finished the session, and several weeks later, and again, this is not a clinical session that I did. This is just someone for funsies wanted to do past life regression. So he called me a couple weeks later and he said, Virginia, I don't know. I don't know. It felt real. I saw it, but I don't know. I think this might be bullshit. I was like, okay, so let's walk through the bullshit session that we had. What if the guy with the airplane, what was the takeaway from that? Let's say it's complete bullshit, but what was the takeaway? And he said, well, I was really successful, and this guy was very successful. And I did always want to have an airplane ever since I could remember. And but I knew in that lifetime that family was really important, and I had not cultivated or developed my relationships with my girls since my divorce. Okay, that's a good takeaway. So then the next lifetime with the guy going up and down the river, he said, I really felt family in that one because I didn't have any. I mean, he knew everybody and everybody would have missed him. He knew everybody by name. They knew him by name. He was the guy you get stuff from. But at the end of the night, he went home and he was alone and he didn't have a family. He didn't have children. He didn't have a wife. And it was a really lonely existence. And I know that takeaway would be, I don't want that. Family is really important to me. So I need to, again, focus on family. And the third lifetime was him in that homestead. And he was like, that's it. I, in talking through this with him, he said, well, I noticed that I had land, I had this house, I had this farm, I had a family, we were connected, and I felt everything. I felt whole. There were no voids at all. And so those are some pretty good takeaways for just having a funsy past life regression. And don't you know, he called me months later. He had bought an airplane. He was engaged to be married. This was about a year later. And they had just bought land to build a homestead where their entire family could come live and everybody got their house. And he was very successful. So if past life regression is bullshit, okay, and this is something that hypnotists do, don't take it like, oh, this is biblical and this is my life and this actually happened. Hold on to the takeaways. What did you learn from what you saw is the most important part of past life regression. So there was something else I was going to tell you, but I don't remember what it is now. But anyway, if you have questions about hypnosis, you can call me. Um, or you can text me. But there is a place in the world for hypnotists, and there is a place in the world for hypnotherapists. I'm a therapist, and the difference between me and a hypnotist is if I'm uncovering something, if I'm uncovering trauma, I'm there for the long haul. I'm there for the entire story, soup to nuts and beyond. So and the other thing about this, I've had so many people say, oh, it's against God. Okay, God made me a hypnotherapist, and I'm pretty sure he loves me. So that's another like thorn in my side when, oh, you're taking control of my body. I'm not taking control of anything. Like you are completely aware of everything that's going on. You and I are talking the entire time. You're telling me what you see, and I'm simply guiding you through it. As a therapist, and especially as a trauma therapist, my goal is to help you uncover the roots of your trauma. So don't worry, I'm right there to help you softly land into whatever thing you discover about yourself. Um, I mean, I've had people talk to their people that their loved ones that have passed. They sit on a beach and talk to them in the dark, and it's really fantastic and amazing. Oh, that's the thing I was going to tell you is that I have this odd ability to like, I don't know if it's because I've been doing it for so long, but I have this ability to like, I close my eyes and not watching you. I'm hearing you say everything, and in that, as you're telling me what you see, somehow, well, I create this story in my own head, and so I'm able to kind of watch the story. I'm able to watch the movie play out. And I've been blessed with this because you wouldn't believe the cool things I've seen in hypnotherapy, and the healing I've seen is just, it's otherworldly, it's godly, it's miraculous. It's nothing short of, I'm in awe of people's ability to heal. And the brain is the most powerful machine on the planet, and I will take that to my grave. So I need everybody to understand. I don't need anything, never mind about that. But I think it's important to understand that what I do, God is always leading the way. This is not, and I've looked in the Bible and I've tried to, where are people getting this information? And honestly, I think it's people in the pulpit just talking smack when they shouldn't be, which is, oh my gosh, 2 weeks ago, I was like, listen, driving someplace, and I listen to radio as I drive all day and mostly talk radio, but I was pushing buttons, and this guy comes on, this preacher, and they brought Jesus up. And he was talking about how everybody's going to die and we're going to hell and this, that. And I was like, this is definitely not going to lead anybody, especially our young, into God, into a place of finding God, serving God. Sorry, I've got a call coming through. Laura, I'll call you in just a second. But anyway, God is in front of all of this. God is my wingman. I am blessed to know him. I am blessed to serve him. For me, because I had a near-death experience and I talked to God. For me, it's God. For you, it might be some source, universe, higher power, whatever you call it is right. Just having a relationship with something. We're not down here alone. I think it's important, but I'm not here to push any kind of agenda. It's just for me, it's God. I had my experience. I spoke to God. I saw angels. I saw a lot of cool things. And maybe some other day I'll do a video on near-death experience. It did happen to me. Turns out it was a heart attack. I thought it was broken heart syndrome, but I saw my file recently and they put heart attack. So, anywho. That's all I've got for you on hypnosis. I hope that was helpful. If you're interested in trying, by all means, give me a shout. Virginia.clag@behealthyforlife.com. The website is behealthyforlife.com. I always save spots. Hypnotherapy is a 2 hour process. And if you're trying to get something worked out, I will see you for therapy first if I don't have a personal relationship with you. Um, but if you want to just do a past life regression, those are really fun. And it's also 2 hours. And so just give me a shout and I will get you scheduled. It's really fun. Okay. I hope that was helpful. And again, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Thanks. Bye bye.